Hello, everyone. Welcome to Balancing Autism and ADHD 365. Are you ready for a word of encouragement? Well, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I am your host. I am Shalondra Gurley. I am the founder of Autism Glows, where we focus on being a model for our kids while living a balanced life with confidence. And today I just wanted to come on here and just share some information with you all, but I want to be able to give you some words of encouragement, but also have a open relationship. And so our topic for today, we are focusing on balancing autism and ADHD 365. And so maybe you are new to the community, or maybe you are a seasoned mom, or parent that has a child that are either on the spectrum or that is diagnosed with ADHD. And so I just want to come on here and just share some tips to be able to help you throughout your week, throughout your days, and just be able to encourage you on your journey. And so before we even get started, I just want to say welcome and thank you all for being here. And as you can see, I want you to be able to drop an orange or a blue heart below, and also let us know where you're tuning in from. So again, please drop an orange or a blue heart and be able to let us know where you're tuning in from. So let's go ahead and get started. So as I stated earlier, our topic for today is we're focusing on balancing autism and ADHD 365. And so we know that as parents of children diagnosed with autism and ADHD, this is a daily journey for us all. And we understand that our journeys are different. But what I want us to be able to understand is that we all need to feel supported, empowered. We need to make sure that we're in an environment that's going to support us on our journey, and we can have a safe haven where we can actually come and vent and cry. But at the end of the day, we are filled with support. We are filled with words that's going to be able to help us to keep moving along our journey. And so I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in, and I want to go ahead and get started. So as I stated earlier, maybe you are new, to the community, maybe you're not, but I want you to know that when it comes to balancing autism and, whether you have a child on the spectrum or not, we have to make sure as mothers, as parents, as caregivers, we have to make sure that we are prioritizing ourselves. We are here at Autism Glows. We are focusing on you becoming the model for your kid while living a balanced life with confidence. And so we want to make sure that in order for you to be able to live a balanced life with confidence, that you are prioritizing you. I want you to know that you matter. You are the glue to it all. I want you to know that you have kids looking up to you. And so we want to make sure that we are prioritizing ourselves, that we are making sure that we are going to a place where we can be able to vent, where we can be able to release, where we can also be recharged. And so making sure that you are focusing on you, focusing on the things that you need, because as a parent, you cannot, if you're always, on the go, if you're always extending yourself, you're always trying to do everything, you're going to be exhausted. And I want you to know and understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So making sure that you first are prioritizing yourself, focusing on the things that you need, because again, you are the model. Our kids are looking up to us. So we have to make sure that we are putting forth the best version of ourselves. And how can we do that when we're exhausted, when we're overwhelmed, when we don't have that balance in our life, when we don't have that peace or that structure? So making sure that we're doing the necessary steps in order to make sure that we are prioritizing ourselves, that we're always putting our best foot forward. Now, does that mean perfection? No, at all. We want to make sure that you are equipped with the essential tools to making sure that you have balance in your life, where you have that peace. And I understand that everybody's journey is different. And so I just want to tell a smaller story about, my journey and, how I got to the point where I wanted, where I have the balance in my life, where I have the peace in my life. And so when my son was first diagnosed, well, prior to that, there were some things that was occurring in school, that you can tell that there was something wrong, but as a mom, and I'm an educator as well, I kind of like brushed past it and tried to be the super mom, like, oh, I can be able to fix all of this, don't worry about it. I'll be able to teach him how to keep his hands to himself, or don't be so fixated on focusing on cars all day long while you have to do your schoolwork. And so it was some things that, excuse me, there were some things that I was trying to implement at home, and not really, from my standpoint, and not really actually looking into what my child actually needed at that moment. And so once we received the diagnosis, I had, it was challenging for me because I have taught several students that are on the spectrum, and students that are diagnosed with ADHD. And I know what I was doing for them inside of the classroom. I know how, me restructuring how I teach and my environment, doing the things that I needed to make sure that they felt safe and welcome. And these were the things that I was doing to make sure that, they didn't feel isolated. I wanted them to feel, included in everything. And so I created that family bond inside of my classroom. And so when my son was diagnosed, it hit differently because I'm like, oh my gosh, like my son, like, and then I went into prayer and I was just like, God, like, why me? Like, why me? And I really had to humble myself. And God said, why not you? Why not you? And so just being the person I am, very passionate about kids. I'm very passionate about teaching. And so just being, inside of the classroom, I know, we have to have patience when it comes to our students. We have to have understanding and, making sure that we have the knowledge to be able to pour over into our kids. And so if I'm doing this for my students, I can do the same thing for my son. I can do the same thing for my daughter. And so just being able to make sure that, my son and my daughter was, equipped as well. And so I had to step back and be able to figure out, and realize that why not me? I love kids. I'm very patient when it comes to them. I love, having them to talk, and I just like to hear, their side of the story. And, I just love to see how confident they are when it comes to learning something new, how their creative side. And, and I just feel so, I feel so energetic when I'm around them. And so just being able to have that connection piece, inside of the classroom and at home, was something that was near and dear to me. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. And so, now, like I said, my son is diagnosed with both autism and ADHD. And so what I had to do was look at it from a different perspective, because what I have learned and what I have seen over the years is that once we receive our child's diagnosis, sometimes parents can go into this box where we feel as though that we are hopeless, that we feel as though that, we don't have the necessary tools, or we're not equipped, we're not prepared, why us, why us? And if we just step back and just realize that first we are given an opportunity, we are blessed with an opportunity to be able to pour into the kids that God has blessed us with. And also being able to see that this is an opportunity for us to grow as well. And so I have learned so much from my love bugs, from my students. They have taken me to a higher level. And I know that some educators and some parents feel as though that they can't learn from the little ones, but I'm here to tell you that you can learn a lot from them. We have to make sure that we are shifting our mindset and that we are thinking positive, because we can grow. And when we establish an environment where there is, an opportunity for all of us to grow in, it will be able to shift their mindset. We will be able to get, the our kids to be able to think at a higher level. Our kids will be able to perform at a higher level. So as parents, as educators, we have to make sure that we are shifting our mindset, that we are thinking positively, that we are being optimistic about what we're being, faced with. And so just being able to shift my way of thinking had me thinking like, okay, I can do this, and I want to be able to come on here and just share with the parent that feel as though that they can't, they're at their end, like they have given their all, like they're at the point where they want to give up. I want you to know that giving up is not an option. I want you to know that you are the model that your child needs. You are needed. And I want you to know that our kids are looking up to us. And so we have to make sure that we are setting the example, that we are leading by example. So making sure that we are, not exhausted, that we are not overwhelmed, and that we're not taking things personally, and be able to understand exactly what, our kids need, and be able to use that opportunity to connect and find ways to communicate with them. And when we establish that relationship with them, how they will open up to us, and how they will feel as though that, I am loved. I do feel supported in this environment. I do feel like, this is a place where I can grow, and they will want to be able to open up. But as parents, as educators, we have to shift our mindsets so that we can be able to create that atmosphere for them to feel safe and welcome. And so it starts with us. We are the model, you all. We have to lead by example. We are the model that they need. We are the example. And so we know that, as a society, there are so many things that our kids are being exposed to that they don't need to be exposed to. So making sure that we're creating an environment where they're exposed to things at their level that is going to be able to have them thinking on another level, and not take as if because they're diagnosed or they have a diagnosis of, autism ADHD, that this is a bad thing. I want you to be able to pour into your child and be able to encourage them daily, not just when they make all A's or, when they did good in school. Encourage them every day. The same way we have to encourage ourselves, we have to encourage our kids, because when they leave us, they're going to be faced with things and people that probably not even thinking on a positive note, probably not even in the right mindset. Maybe they are dealing with some issues themselves, maybe they, had a bad night, and then all of a sudden here come your child inside of the classroom, and everything is going haywire, and now all the blame is on your child. Or maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and your child and came in, and you didn't just went off for no reason. And so we want to make sure that we are setting our mindset, that we're shifting our mindsets to think positively, but also making sure that we're setting ourselves up for success, making sure that we are setting ourselves up so that we can be able to be the best version of ourselves, so that we are the model for our kids. Then we can be able to live a balanced life with confidence. And so I just wanted to say that we have to make sure that we are, shifting some things, that we are rearranging some things. And also, I want you to know that there are going to be some times where you're going to have to disconnect from the norm. There were some things that I had to do in order to make sure that I was making sure that I was setting myself up for success, but also my kids. So I had to go back and figure out what are some things that I need in order for me to be the best version, of myself, to be the model that my kids need. And so there were some things that I had to, consider. And so I had to be intentional. I had to be intentional about my growth. I had to be intentional about being the model and the mom that my kids needed now. I had to be intentional about being the teacher, the educator that my students needed now. So I want you to take a moment and think about, what are some things that your child needs now. Don't worry about what everybody else is saying. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't compare yourself. Don't compare your child. Focus on what you need, and also focus on what your child needs now. This is an opportunity for you to connect. This is an opportunity for you all to connect, and communicate more effectively. So take this moment, and I really want you to think about some things that you need and your child need right now. And as you are thinking about that question, I really want you to be intentional about this. Think about, what do I need? What does my child need right now? Because there were some things that I had to do to make sure that, I wasn't taking all of the advice from people. It's okay to, receive information, but you have to be at a point where you saying, okay, where you say, okay, I understand what people are saying, but for me, I have to make sure that my relationship with my kids are strong. I have to make sure that my relationship with God is strong, because that is how I'm getting my peace. That is how I have the balance in my life. And so kudos to people that are, providing their advice. We're not knocking them for that, but we, as the caregiver, as the parents, we have to make sure that we are being intentional about the things that our kids need. So I want you to think for a moment. And as you're thinking, we're going to take a quick little break. But as we're thinking about that question, what are some things that you need now, not tomorrow? What are the patterns? So what do you need now? What does your child need now? All right. So we're going to take a quick little break, and I will see you back in a few minutes. All right, so welcome back. So we was talking about being intentional, all right? And so another thing I want us to be able to understand that, giving up is not an option. I know it's hard. I know it's challenging. Every day is different. But when we create a system in our environments that's going to be able to help, lighten the load, then I think that we are setting ourselves up for success. And so, me having to come to an agreement and come to an understanding that I can't give up. Because if I give up, I'm giving up on, my kids. I'm giving up on the opportunity to grow with them and be able to, be the model that they need. I'm giving up on being the best version of myself. So I have to make sure that I am finding ways to connect. I am finding ways to communicate with my kids. I am finding ways to be able to balance autism and ADHD 365, and so it's different, but it works for us. And so there were some things that I had to do for myself, to be able to, balance it. Am I sitting here saying that my life is perfect? No, but there were some things and some systems that I had to put in place to make sure that I am setting myself up for success, that I am putting my best foot forward, that I am being the model for my kids. And so as some of you all may already know, that I talk about, when I was my journey of getting up in the morning time, trying to rush to work, and even before getting out of the house, getting up like an hour before it's time to leave the house, and trying to get two kids ready, and trying to fix breakfast, and trying to, it was just all this stuff all over the place. And I realized that, first of all, that is not healthy. That is overwhelming. That is stressful. And it wasn't good, for me, not physically, not emotionally, not health. Like it was not good at all. And so what I had to do, and I know a lot of people are not going to do this, but that is a-okay. But maybe someone can be able to take these practical tools and be able to implement them in their lives so that they can be able to have balance in their lives and have the peace that they deserve. And so some things that I had to do for me, I had to really sit down and, like I said, intentional. I had to be intentional about the things that I wanted in my life. I had to be intentional about the things that I needed. And I know. Everybody was like, okay, here we go. No, this right here changed my life. And so what I had to do, I had to look at how I was spending my time. Where was I spending all of my time and my energy? And so, like I stated earlier, I was getting up early. I was just getting up, I was getting up an hour before it was time for us to leave the house, which is not a good thing. So what I had to do, I had to rearrange my schedule so that I can be able to, get up in an amount of time where I take care of myself first, and prioritize myself, and also make sure that I have everything set up. So when I wake up, my love bugs, the attention is on them. The attention is on making sure that they are dressed, that they are fed, and that they are packed and ready to go to school. So I had to change my schedule. So if I have to leave out at 7 o'clock and I was getting up at 6, that wasn't good for me at all. So what I had to do, I rearranged my schedule. And so I get up at 3:50, which means that I don't get out of the bed until 4. So me getting up early from 4, so even if it take an hour or 45 minutes to get my kids ready, I had from 4 to 6 o'clock to be able to get everything that I needed for myself, to make sure that I was setting myself up for success for that day. Now, I was raised by my grandmother who made us make sure that we ironed our clothes, our uniform, on Saturday, for the upcoming week. So I had to go back to the basics, you all. I had to figure out, like, okay, even though I didn't like that and I didn't understand it growing up, now it makes sense. So I implemented it in my home. So I ironed all of our clothes for the whole week. Which saved time throughout the week. And I also started meal prepping. And so that too was a game changer. So me getting up at 4 o'clock, well, out of the bed at 4, and that 4 to 6 o'clock time frame, that was time for me to be able to pray, work out, do whatever I need to do, whether I wanted to eat breakfast by myself, or read a book before getting my kids up to start my day for work. I did everything I needed for me before getting my kids up. Now, I understand everybody saying they're not going to get up at no 4 o'clock. I get that. Your time may be, another time, but this is something that I had to do. I had to look at how I was spending my time and my energy. Where was I spending majority of my time and my energy? And so I know that even when I got out of school, I had to go and get my kids. And when I got my kids, it was time for us to come home and do work. So me just being intentional about my time and my energy, me getting up early, that was some things that I implemented. Also meal prepping, and then also ironing all of our clothes the week before the upcoming school week, and so in work week. So that was some things that I wanted to be able to share with you all, but I knew that I could not give up. And when I implemented all of these things in my life, how, I felt, relief. I felt like I had clarity in my life, and my kids was able to see that, oh, mom doesn't look stressed out, and she doesn't feel, she doesn't look overwhelmed. And I had energy, you all, to be able to go out and run with my kids and play with my kids. I'm a big kid at heart, but I love like sports, roll tide, but I love sports, you all. And so just being able to be active with our kids, we have to make sure that we are active with our kids, active and present. We have to make sure that we are active and present in their lives, you all. And so just being able to have those systems in place and be able to do these things consistently, how it changed my life. And so I just wanted to just come on here and let you all know that, these are some things that we can implement to be able to help you balance, autism and ADHD. I don't want you to feel as though that you are in this by yourself, that you have to do everything, that you are hopeless, that feel, as if you're not equipped or prepared. I want you to know that you are blessed with a child from God that is going to give you the opportunity to be able to grow, that's going to be able to help you to learn how to connect and communicate. But we have to make sure that we are intentional about the things that we're doing in our lives. And we have to make sure as parents that we are prioritizing ourselves, that we are putting ourselves first. When we're on the airplane, they were like, okay, you take your breathing, you put yours on first. It's a reason for that. And so for parenting, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves first so that we can be able to pour into our kids. We want to make sure that we are, spending time with them, that we are not making excuses why we can't go outside with them. We can't, we can't be making up excuses on, why we can't do this or do that. We want to make sure that we are putting forth, our best foot and being the best version of ourselves. But we have to make sure that we are the model for our kids. And so I want to go ahead and I just want to say again that sometimes you're going to have to disconnect from the norm. There were some things that I had to do, and that went back to me focusing on what I needed now, and it was everything. So I want to make sure that I'm going over the steps and making sure that you understand. These are some things that you can implement. You don't have to implement them all, but I wanted to leave you with some words of encouragement and let you know that you are worth it. Your child is worth it. I don't want you to feel as though that you are alone, that you are the model that your child needs. And you have to make sure that you are focused on you, not concerned about what everybody else is doing, but being intentional about your time, being intentional about spending time with your kids, and making sure that you are setting yourself up for success. So I want to just let you all know that I'm just forever grateful for this opportunity to just come on here and share this information with you all. And so I just want to thank you. And I want you to know to be the model that your kids need now. Be the model that your kids need now. Lead by example. We are not perfect. We are not here to compare ourselves with the person next to us. We are blessed with kids that's going to be able to, that we can grow with, that we can learn with, but we have to make sure that we are focusing on what we need so that we can be able to better understand what they need. Okay. And so I just want to thank you all so much for joining me on today. I pray that there was some information that you received that was very informative to you. And if you have any questions, any comments, please post them below. And, I look forward to seeing you again on our show. So until next time, I'll see you later.